Hey guys, Kev here, and I want to do an overview on the Urban EDC Supply exclusive Justin Lundquist designed Baby Barlow. So this is an interesting little knife, which probably tells you right off the bat it's not going to be my favorite knife, because when I say interesting, that's pretty much what that means. But I totally see why people like this. I see why it's, popular in terms of there's a pre-order going right now for, I think, a second run. It's maybe a redesign a little bit, but I believe these were out before. I can't be certain of that, but I remember them saying it's back or something. But yeah, it's a cool little knife. It comes in a lot of different materials and stuff like that. I'm not going to remember all of them. But I'll try to list what I can. And yeah, if you have tiny, tiny hands, or if you're buying for a woman who has tiny hands, or you like fifth pockety type knives, like some dudes with huge hands like 2-finger knives, like, who am I to judge, right? But yeah, so I want to give a big shout out to Urban EDC Supply. They sent this to me. This is a prototype. Well, actually, Metal Complex sent it to me, but it came from them. They're letting me check it out. It is a prototype. They have a pre-order going right now for this knife in all the handle scales I was talking about. I believe they start at $199. So, yeah, it's a little pricey for such a small item. We'll get into the size and everything, but I think for the OEM being, I think it's either WE or Riot. I lean towards Riot. That's just kind of what you're going to get with these materials. Doesn't matter the size of the knife, unless it's astronomically huge, then the price will go up. But, a 3¼ inch knife versus a 2¼ inch knife, it's not going to change the price. If you're using the same materials or whatever. Honestly, a smaller knife can be harder to manufacture because it's so damn small. So there's that. But yeah, so thanks to Urban EDC Supply. I will have a link below. I always have my Urban EDC Supply affiliate link in the description below every video, but it'll specifically be below this one. If you follow that link and you purchase something or pre-order this or whatever, I get a little bit of commission out of it, 10%. Unfortunately, you don't get a discount. I'm working on that with them. So far, no luck, but I get 10%, and that will go back into the channel, so you'll be supporting the channel, which I really appreciate. So far, you guys have done pretty good with that link. I've been able to buy some giveaway stuff, so it's definitely been worth it, but check the link below, and or I think you can just use a code. I don't know. I don't think you can actually at checkout. Never mind. You have to follow the link, damn it. Anyway, the Baby Barlow. So let's take a close-up look at it, and then we can talk about it. So we have G10 scales on this prototype right here. It's very well finished G10. You can see that it almost looks like micarta, right? When you look at it like this, but it's G10. It is a smooth G10, so there's no roughness to it. But I think that makes sense in this case. It's supposed to be kind of like a modern traditional, small little gentlemanly thing. I don't really see the reason for having a rough G10. The buttons are sunk in and flush. They feel good. You have this cool kind of pivot collar thing that Lundquist is kind of popular for these days. I've seen it on a couple of Kaisers, I think like the Latbin, and there might be a Concept out there. This is one of the materials that changes when you, it doesn't change, but you can order different ones. So like they have titanium scaled ones. I think they have micarta. They have these G10 ones. I don't know if there's carbon fiber. That would be cool. And then they have ones with different colored like pivot collar things, like black, this color, I don't know if there's any other options. You can follow that link and you'll see them all. And then you have your pivot right here. On this side, you'll see the pivot screw. Same collar right there. The 3 lines. And here you have this extremely minimal clip. It works absolutely fantastic. It feels absolutely fantastic. And it looks absolutely stunning. I just think this is a perfect pocket clip. You can see how it was mounted from the inside, which is cool, right? So in order to take the clip off, you have to take the knife apart, and then you could take the screw out and pop the clip off. I think that is awesome. There you go. Get a good look at it. They hid some body screws or liner screws down there. So those 2 screws are holding in this liner right here that's acting as the lock, which is fantastic because you have nested liners. And if you look in there, you're going to see that there is no scale on the other side. They kept this as light as possible. No scale there. So all you have is that little liner for the lock. And those 2 screws down there are holding it in. It's pretty common design. It's the way Riot does a lot of their knives, so it makes me think it's Riot. I also kind of think this is titanium, which also makes me think it's Riot. So there's that. You can see there is no steel insert, so you have a carbonized lock face, or you have steel, or it's just a steel liner. But I think it's titanium with a carbonized lock face. Could be wrong. And there's your detent ball. Really cool. The access right here is pretty good. That's left-handed. We'll kind of go over it again, right-handed, I guess, but I'm holding a flashlight right now. Yeah, the access is good. I like that. Here's the blade. So you have this. Let me turn the light off. You have this blacked out blade on this one. Again, you have option. I think there's stonewash. I don't know if there's satin. I would love a satin, but you know how it is. I cannot tell if this is a flat grind or a hollow, but I'm pretty sure it's a flat. It's just so thin, it makes me think it's a hollow grind. I think it might be a hollow. I don't know, it's really hard to tell. But anyway, that's your close-up look at the baby Barlow. And to show you the disengaging right-handed, so you have a little bit of room here. Get your nasty-ass thumb in there, if you have a nasty one. And then it gets out of the way. And this is a knife you're not going to, drop to your nail and shake down. But if you wanted to, you can do it. I'm sure they will get smoother over time, especially as the coating wears in on one like this. This one's definitely still breaking in. Again, prototype. But it's really kind of an interesting knife to play with. So you have this top flipper right here, has good jimping on it, and it's not really set up to do the top flip kind of thing, front flip kind of thing, but you can do it, especially if you have smaller hands and you're right-handed, because you have a little bit of a clip to grab here. You know, you can roll it out. I'm trying not to have it pop out and hit me in the palm. So you can do it, right? And again, I'm left-handed, so this is harder for me than for some people. What I've found with front flippers like this is you kind of have to hold them loose. You kind of just got to let them rest in your hand right here, like on your pinky, and just loosely hold it and then pop it out. That way you're not putting pressure in the wrong place or whatever. And that aspect kind of works left-handed, but you just don't have that clip to grab. So you got to kind of get the edge and hope the blade doesn't get you, right? But you can do it. Now, the more enjoyable way to flip this is like this. Just pop it over the top. That's the way most people, I think, are going to do it. Again, right-handed, works the same. So it's kind of like a reach-around flipper, if you know what I mean. Some people might do the whole, roll it back this way thing. I don't even think I could pull that off. I'm going to cut myself, so I'm not going to do it. But anyway, action is pretty good on this for being such a tiny little guy. Centering is dead nuts. Looks like you have a Jade G10 spacer. No, it's gray G10. I'm sorry. Gray G10 spacer. Yeah, so interesting knife. Ergos. So I will be, I always say this, I will be honest. It feels fantastic. I actually am getting all 4 of my fingers, mostly. I can't get the pinky all the way on, but I have basically a full grip on this knife, and I am extremely surprised by that. Here's some paper. I don't know how much cutting this knife has done. It's hard for me to do it in a full grip, right? So I'm going to kind of back off into a grip I would use like this. And, I mean, it's a cutter, guys. It's... Shoop. Like, I'm not stopping because I'm still I'm just having fun right now. Let's just keep going. Okay, that was me. We all know that, don't we? I mean, they put a great edge on this. It's super thin, guys. And it's fun to use. Like, this is a fun knife to cut with. And if you're using it to, like, open packages and that kind of stuff, fifth pocket knife stuff, man, would this thing be good for that. I mean, you have this reverse Tonto blade, sheep's foot, whatever you want to call it, and you can pinch up to your heart's content, you know, down to this little tip. I cut a couple of shipping labels out with this. Man, did it go through labels. The only thing I didn't have was a ton of pressure down because it's not a heavy blade. So I didn't get to cut like 5 sheets deep. You know, I could cut like 3 deep without straining. But like, look at this. I literally have pinpoint control with this knife. And it just rests in my hand so comfortably. This is, I mean, for such a tiny knife, this really is like so comfortable. Like one of my favorites, honestly, that I've handled in this size range. Like more so than like even the little native or like the Ace Rib. Like because it's even smaller and more neutral that like it just feels good. Yeah, I don't know. That's just how I feel about the ergonomics and the cutting. They're fantastic. It's just such a small knife. That's really like my negative with it is how small it is. It kind of makes it hard for me to manipulate and stuff. But the more I play with it, the more I really do like it. And I see the value in it. I've never been a huge Justin Lundquist design fan. Mainly because I'm left-handed. It makes it hard when everything's a tiny front flipper. But this thing, man, it just really sings. Like, you can pinch it like this, and if you pinch, like, the top of the scales here, and then put your thumb up here, I mean, you're just like, it's incredible. It really is. So let's do some size comparisons. Another knife, very similar, and you're going to see the opposite when I do this video, is the ProTech Runt 5, another reverse Tonto, tiny little knife. Let's see. There you go. So the the ProTech Runt 5 is actually smaller, I think. No, they're about identical. If I slide it, I can't do pivot to pivot. There you go. They're literally the same size. But I don't know. This one's a little chunkier. It does have the same kind of feel to it, to where it's tiny and I can manipulate it, and it does cut well and everything, but like, I don't know. I just kind of like how this one holds a little bit better. I like the weight. This thing is like, it's non-existent. This has some chunk to it because it's aluminum. It's got all the mechanics in there or whatever, and I'll tell you what, this neck thing is just ugly. This looks clean. This looks like, it honestly doesn't even look like a knife. It's just like, hey, what's that thing you have there? You know, you could pull this out of your pocket and somebody would think it's like a, you know, a fidget toy or something. I don't know. Obviously, once you whip a blade out, it's obvious. But when it's like folded up like this, it just looks like a thing. You could have this sitting on your desk. Somebody could walk up and be like, oh, you know, look, guy has a thingy-majig, right? Like, it just doesn't scream knife. So it's a very good knife for people who are trying to not advertise that they have a knife on them, right? It hides well because it's small, has deep carry clip, it's super light, doesn't look like a knife, it's not very assuming. Like, nobody's going to be like, oh my God, you pulled out the thing. You know, you're just going to be like, dude, it's fucking 2 inches. Like, shut up, right? Cuts extremely well. I mean, this thing would just get the job done. For like a person who carries a knife, this would be enough for an office person, right? Like me. This would be 100% enough. I could do anything I needed to with this, throw it in my bag, my pocket, whatever, and it disappears. Like, so if you guys can't tell, the more this overview goes on, the more I like this knife. I started it with, it's an interesting knife. And now I'm like, this thing's awesome. I might get one. I think I might actually get one of these. I think I'm going to pre-order one of these. So there you go. That's what happens when I try to overview a knife. All my thoughts on it come together. You know, I mean, I've only had it for 5 days or a week. And, you know, I carried it once or twice. And I fiddled with it a little bit. So, like, my thoughts have been kind of mishmashed. And, you know, they're all coming together here. This is why I don't, like, write stuff down. This is why I just, you know, go from the cuff. I wing it. Because, you know, I learn things myself, I guess. That was fucking stupid. But anyway, this thing's cool. This is the baby Barlow from Urban EDC Supply. You could pre-order one of these right now. It's a Justin Lundquist design. And comes in a lot of flavors. I'm kind of interested in the titanium, although I'm thinking that might be too heavy, right? So I don't know. I might not go with that. But carbon fiber, if they have it. I like this, but I don't want G10. I'm just not a G10 fan. And my card, it's too small for that, it seems like, right? I don't even know. They might not even have my Carta, but I'm going to look. Titanium sounds like a good idea, but I don't really want it to be heavier, you know? So, anyway, we'll see. By the way, detent on this is good. You can see, pops in. It's, again, a top flipper, so you don't need a strong detent, and pops out really well. It's built well, man, for the size, so... follow the link below if you guys want to pre-order one of these or you're interested in something else at Urban EDC Supply. I really appreciate you guys listening to me rant and rave as usual and listening to me just, you know, be an idiot. And I love you all. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. I also hope you tell me what you think about this in the comments below. I'll talk to you guys there. And I will catch you later. Okay, guys, so this knife was super gritty. Like, to the point where I was worried it was, like, causing harm to the knife. So I took it apart. Now, I didn't ask permission to do that. I will talk to them, you know, after I'll let them know I did it. But, like, I felt like I needed to take this apart. Because if I kept opening it and closing it, I just felt it was like making this very, very gritty sound. And I just was worried about it. So I wanted to take it apart and just clean it and put it back together. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to mess with it or anything. But this is a super unique construction. So I thought you guys would like to see it. So here's your pivot, obviously, right? Pretty standard affair. Goes through, pivot. Okay. So now look. There's a cutout up here. I have some oil in here already, so pardon that. It was super dry, and I think that was the problem. But yeah, look at that cutout. I'm going to zoom in. You'll see there's a cutout in the G10. So the way they did this was they took this thing. See that? So instead of having steel washers, they have these machined parts. So watch. This is going to drop over this. And then into that slot perfectly. It's going to drop right in there. Look at that. How cool is that? You can see the bearing tracks on it. So then I'll take a bearing, which are absolutely tiny. I mean, tiny, guys. You zoom out. Look at those. Compare. Let me see. Normal Chinese OEM bearings are 5mm, this size. I mean, these things are tiny. I'm wondering if they had to make these Like, I've never seen them this small. So you drop one on right there. Let me zoom back in. So one goes there, right? Check this out. This gets even better. Then you put the blade on. And you're wondering, where's the stop pin, Kev? You didn't put the stop pin on. Well, the other washer, just gets better and better. Watch. Put this bearing on. Okay, we got that bearing on. Now you take this piece. That's your stop pin. What? And the other washer, basically. And that goes through the hole in the blade onto the pivot and pops into that first washer thing we put in, right? Look at that. And that's how the stop pins and bearings go in. How cool is that? I'm blown away by this. Okay, so now we can take the liner. I didn't get this far yet. Pop that on. Make sure it's 90 degrees. Pop everything together, right? And take this one body screw. Oh, sorry, I don't know if you saw it. Pop that together. Body screw, let me zoom out. Again, Urban EDC Supply, I truly apologize, but like I felt like this knife was in need of being cleaned or repaired or something, so I will be gentle, I promise. I am gentle. I'm not gonna Loctite it. It's a T10 on the pivot too, which is cool. And I'm fairly convinced now that this is Riot because there's no T6. I don't know. It just makes me think it. Let me put it down. I'm wondering how the action's going to be now that I did this. But you never know. Could just be the same. All right, so still got a little bit of that grit. So that might just be gently tight. It's just spinning at this point. So I don't know if it's tightening or not. I think it is actually tightening. There's this side. Yeah, I think it's spinning in place. We're good, we're good. I don't want it to be too tight. Okay, that's tight enough. Clean the blade off. I put KPL in it on the bearings and KPL heavy on the detent track. That's all I did. Centering's dead on. Maybe I was too tight on the pivot. I just want to see what we can do with the action since we were already centering. Dead nuts. Blade play. No play at all. Okay, no action. Centering's still good. Slightest bit of play, maybe. Okay, yeah, so you're just not going to get drop shot on this. I mean, I don't know why I was thinking you would, but anyway, there's no play. And, yeah, it's smoother now. There's a little grit right at the top here. But other than that, it's now, well, it comes and goes. That's weird. Huh. Yeah, so I'm thinking it's the coating. It's just going to wear in, but it's much, much better than it was before I took it apart. So that's good. But yeah, so that's a quick disassembly. I just want to double check that screw. Yeah, we're good. We're good. I didn't cause any harm, thank God. So yeah. Dead centered. Action. Functions. No problem. Cool knife. I'm impressed with that build. That's just super unique and interesting in there. Never seen anything like that, and I really just wanted to show you guys. So there you go. That's the Baby Barlow prototype reassembly, I guess. A disassembly was so easy. Screw, that's it. Clip mounts from the inside, don't have to worry about that. Super easy, guys, and super freaking cool. I really want one of these now. So that is the Baby Barlow, and I love you guys. Peace.